What's up, e-bike fans? In this video, this is the actual Magicycle cruiser bike, the 1.5 version. And why it's a 1.5 is because they've done some upgrades already to the original model that just came out. Well, let's get started on the upgrades. All right, before we get started, I first want to say thank you very much to Magicycle for loaning me this bike for a few days to talk about the upgrades that's been happening, because Magicycle has already come out with like a 1.5 version. It's actually the same bike that we've had originally, but they've heard some of the things that people wanted. They wanted to improve it, and because they own the factory, they were able to really make adjustments quickly for the next batch coming out. So one of the main things that was the brakes that were on the original Magicycle. So we have a new set of brakes that are actually have just been added onto this. So now the 1.5 version has a Tektro Aries brand brakes, which is a name brand that's out there. Now I would say, in my guesstimation, about a 40% improvement, because there wasn't, in my opinion, really that bad. The original brakes, they worked fine. They just needed some adjustments on them, and they were a little harder to adjust. The Tektro Aries now, they're both still mechanical brakes. There is definitely some improvement in it. Maybe just a little bit easier to grab on the brakes itself. Just better feel. I think that's the best way to put it. So that's one of the first things that first got an upgrade. The other thing is, I've actually seen comments and people asked, can you remove the back rack? Now, the second thing that they've done is they've actually taken the back rack here and they've put bolts on the outside or top that's very easily accessible. For instance, the first bike actually had their bolts, but they're on the inside on this side, so you'd have to go through the back. And one of the hard bolts to hit is, in order to get this out, you'd have to take the tire out because the bolt's hidden under there. So want to make sure now that people know, if they want to go ahead and remove the rack, that you can, and you can take it off right here. This is a really good rack. It still also comes with the bungee that can be unclipped, and then so this comes with the bike itself there. So that's still a standard feature on the bike itself. Then the other thing that we actually have an upgrade on is one thing that a lot of bikes don't have, and I always wondered why not, is that it actually has a clock right here on the top right corner of the display. So now you actually can see the time while you're riding, which is something you think would be common, but it's just, you know, being that digital technology is out there, they just never added on to most of the bikes. So this bike actually now has a clock on it as well. Okay, so the other last two things that are actually big improvements on this is you now have a double-sided chain guard here, which will help prevent the chain from actually popping off on the inside. But to be honest, I've never had a problem with even the original doing it. It's just an added feature that I think, you know, is a good improvement. You just never want to have your chain pop off, and that's one way to keep it on. And speaking of the chain, the other thing that they've done is they've added like this neoprene chain guard, so that it'll keep it from scratching your bike as it bounces through here. If we take a look at the original, again, it's really not all that bad. I mean, we have the chain guard from the outside. It's just not a double-sided chain guard here, but they did add a plastic clear strip to protect the frame from getting any scratches against the chain. It's just that now it's a thicker one, and it'll be added protection that's just really helpful to have. Now, if you look at the two different bikes itself, this is the step-thru version, and this is on the right side, the new one. The 1.5 is the cruiser. Now, all the newer models, if you place your order today, all of them actually have the upgrades now. It's at no additional cost. If you use the discount code of Chris100, just know that you still get that discount of whatever the current discount is running for that coupon. I believe right now it's $100 off, so you can get the bike at $15.99 minus $100. We bring it down to $14.99. And again, both bikes, well, let's stick with the versions now that we have. The 1.5 version in either a step-thru frame style or the cruiser itself. They both have, I mean, they all have 750 watt motors on it. They still have your 7 speeds in the back there. You also have your 52 volt battery.